Hey, welcome to Authentic Influence Live. This is Anthony Chansamooth from Simple Creative Marketing, and a bit crazy this morning with the rain and everything else, but we are here. And what I'm talking about today, we're going to continue our Surfer SEO series and our content marketing series, really focused on the tools and techniques to help you grow your traffic and get more prospective buyers to your website. Okay, so we did a previous training on how to use the audit tool inside of Surfer SEO. Please go check that out if you haven't seen it already. And in this video, I'm going to run through how to create articles and content that rank on Google using Surfer SEO content editor. Excuse me. I'm still recovering from illness, so I will be coughing throughout this broadcast, unfortunately. So I apologize in advance. Okay, now let me just check that all the screens are working. Okay, cool. Okay, so now let me just bring up a few things. First of all, let's do this, and we're going to share screen. Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome for joining, and we're talking about the Surfer SEO content editor and how you can create the best content for people and search engines that bring you a ton of traffic while you're asleep. If you like that, say yes, I want that. Put that in the chat here. But if you're wanting to grow your organic traffic, then this is the training for you. Okay, so now let me just put this on the screen here. If you want to try Surfer SEO for 7 days, you can just head over to simplecreativemarketing.com/Surfer SEO. Now this is, excuse me, it's not a free trial. You do need to supply a credit card, but then if you're not happy with the tool or you just don't find it useful for you, which I highly doubt, then you can actually request a refund and the team will gladly refund you, right? So definitely worth the investment and checking out. Head over to simplecreativemarketing.com/Surfer SEO and you can dig into this tool. Now I'm going to show you one piece of it, which is a content editor. Let me just share some of the features of the content editor and why I just love it, and I've been using it to produce articles for my site, but also for some of our clients, and it's actually helped bring more traffic. All right, so this is just a sort of screenshot of what it looks like, and I'll actually jump into the tool in a moment. But what you can see straight up is, you've got an editing section where you can write your content, and then as you're writing, this really acts like a guide. Imagine if you were sitting next to someone who had an SEO expert and they were sitting right next to you as you were writing your content, and they were recommending, some tweaks to your content as you're actually writing it. They're saying, hey, you need to put these words in there. You need to have this number of paragraphs, this number of headings, number of images, etc. And if you really want to rank for this particular keyword, you should be including these other phrases in the content. So imagine you're really optimizing as you go. And this is what Surfer SEO content editor allows you to do on the fly, which is just really a massive time saver, and it really helps you do all the things you need to do in the article without needing to be an SEO expert and without needing to do all that training to understand it all, right? Okay, so again, I'll walk through a specific demonstration of this in a moment. It does connect to Google Docs, WordPress, and Webflow. Excuse me. These are the tools that you can use. So yeah, there's some really cool features in here. Like it tells you that you can actually give it, you can suggest and choose what terms you want to use in the content. Questions. It recommends questions that you probably should include in your articles to make sure that the content is very relevant to the keyword that you're trying to rank for, and the text editor is just really super powerful. Okay, you get feedback which is instant. It tells you straight away, right? there's a content score, and it tells you, hey, if you are anywhere between 70 plus and you're in that green zone, then this content is good to go. There's a high chance that it's going to rank well against other articles that are already on page one for that particular keyword. Okay. Now there are other factors for ranking an article in Google, and won't cover those in here. But this does not. I want to just preface this training by saying this does not guarantee that your articles will rank on page one. There are some other factors that need to be considered, but it gives you a really good shot. And I have certainly experienced. I've seen articles that I've produced using Surfer SEO get to page one. Okay, and so I know that it does work. Okay, you can rank for multiple keywords with one content piece, which is really awesome. And you're getting content guidelines where you need them. All right, so let's do a real live example here. So to start off with any content, before you start writing any article, you want to have a content strategy. Okay, so this is you want to have a plan for, okay, well, what is it you're trying to rank for? What are you wanting people you start with your audience or your prospective buyer. Okay, and this is how we get very clear on where to dedicate our time and energy and investment in terms of producing articles. If you're going to be producing articles, then you want to make sure that you're producing articles that attract the right readers or the right audience to your blog, to your website. Yeah, and then you want to think about, okay, well, what is it that those people are searching for that you can help with. Okay, so in I'll probably do a separate video on this. If this is of interest, let me know in the comments around how to plan a content strategy. Excuse me. But for now, you think about your audience. You think about, okay, what are some keywords they might be searching for? Okay, now something that obviously I specialize in content marketing, and something that's worked really well for myself and for other content marketers is guest blogging. Okay, but how do you actually do guest blogging? And if I wanted to write an article that performed well for say the phrase guest blogs. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to identify what is the keyword that you're going to target. All right, so I just typed in guest blogs here in Google. I'm using an extension called Keyword Everywhere. I don't know if you can see this. It's called Keywords Everywhere, and basically it gives you, whenever you type in a keyword, it gives you the volume, monthly search volume for that keyword. It's a really handy plugin. And so, and then it tells you, like, for the results here, it also gives you some more information which can be used to inform whether or not you're going to pursue that particular keyword. Right? Again, that's probably a video for that, but the main thing I'm looking for here is what's the search volume for this particular keyword. So guest blogs is getting around 4,400 searches per month. So that's pretty high volume, right? So if I can get my article, if I write an article about this topic and it ranks on page one here, then that's going to get a decent amount of traffic, right? Especially if I'm getting, the top spot. Okay, but this could be challenging because obviously some of these sites have been around for a long time. They have high domain authority. Like here, Neil Patel's site has a 90 out of 100 domain authority according to Moz, which is super high. HubSpot, another popular blog. So I might not beat them, but if I could get into the third, fourth, or fifth position, then I'll still get some decent traffic, right? So I'm going to go, okay, let's use guest blogs as the keyword. I'm getting some good volume here. Okay, and then what I want to do is I'm going to go into the content editor. Okay, I've logged into Surfer SEO. I go to click on content editor under tools, and then it's asking me, okay, what is the keyword or keywords that I'm trying to rank for? Okay, so I'm going to put guest blogs, and then you can also choose what country your audience is in, right? So who you're trying to reach. For me, I have a US audience and I have an Australian audience. For this example, I'll use US, and then I click on create content editor. All right, and what it does is it's now this artificial intelligence and the technology behind this is now looking. It's going to Google. It's looking at those articles or those pages that are ranking on page one here. So, like this big commerce article here, what is guest blogging, Neil Patel, etc., etc. It's looking at all these results. It's pulling all that data into Surfer, and then it's going to create. It's going to put that all into the content editor. Okay, so while it's doing its thing, I'm just going to have a quick look at the pages on this site to understand search intent. So something that's important about producing content and trying to rank on Google is you need to understand for a particular keyword, what is the search intent for people who are searching for that keyword, right? So, and typically what we're looking for here is, are they searching for a product to buy, right? Is the search intent to buy something, to evaluate something, or is the search intent to learn, excuse me, and be educated, right? So you can see here with this keyword, the top result is what is guest blogging. You've got questions here. People also ask, how do I find guest blogs? Is guest blogging good? Why is guest blogging important? This is all, to me, says that this is educational content, right? Ultimate guide to guest blogging, everything you need to know, right? All these questions here, these are all related to educational resources, okay? They're not, it's not like, how do I buy guest blogging, okay? So the intent is certainly not to buy something, all right? So, okay, here we go. It's done its thing, it's given us a tick, so I can click into that, and that's going to take me inside the content editor. It's got a pop up here. Okay, we'll close that for now. And so the keyword's at the top, and you can see it here. Keyword, we're targeting the US. And then when we're starting an article, what we want to do is we start off with, okay, first thing I want to do is I'm just going to check the settings, and I can customize the settings. Just click on that, okay. And I want to select the articles that are relevant to the search intent and the type of content that I want to produce for my audience, okay. So, again, it comes back to you understanding your audience, you understanding what it is they're searching for and why they're searching for it, and then selecting the articles that are the competitors that are relevant to that particular intent. So in here, the first article, what is guest blogging, is relevant. Okay, so this is relevant. The Neil Patel article is obviously relevant. HubSpot, relevant. Number 4 is relevant. 5, relevant. I would say number 7, list of 300 plus websites that accept guest posts and contributions. That's not really relevant to the type of content I want to produce, because I want to produce a guide to guest blogging. Yeah, so I'm going to deselect that. So I don't want that informing the content that I'm going to produce, right? Or the article that I'm going to write. 150 sites to guest into. Again, I don't want that type of content I want to produce. I want to produce a guide, how to do it, right? How and why you should be doing it. Okay, that one's relevant. Okay, so now it's saving that, it's updating its algorithm and information. I can then go to content structure, and you can see here, like, it gives you a range. It's looking at it's analyzing all those articles that I've put a tick on, excuse me, all the competitor articles, and then it's saying, okay, the average range of word count for the articles that are ranking on page 1 for that keyword is between 4,762 to 5,476 words. So the article that I produce needs to be within that range, okay, in terms of word count. It also gives me the number of headings, also a range, number of paragraphs, and number of images for it to be effective. Okay, you might be thinking, whoa, 67 images, that is a lot. That is certainly a lot, but we can have a look at those articles that are ranking on page 1 and seeing what's going on there, because I got a feeling that might not be the case. You might not need to have 67 article images in order to get to that page 1. Okay, and then the next thing you can do is you can customize the terms. Okay, so you can look through these list of terms. These are, again, terms that are being pulled from the analysis, right? And you want to find, okay, are all these terms relevant? Okay, and they should be, right? Because they've come from those pages that are on page one. Okay, but once in a while you might find terms that are not relevant, right? Like business insider, right? That might not be a relevant term that you're going to use, so you can uncheck that. So that way, Surfer will not recommend that particular term or keyword in its content editor recommendation section. Okay, so social media posts, okay, blogs, audience, traffic, related sites, freelance writer, okay, good, right? So all these things, and there are some other terms here that have not been ticked. You might want to talk about submitting a guest post, building relationships. That's important, right? Marketing strategy. Okay, so you tick the ones that you want, and you untick the ones you don't want. Okay, definitely want to talk about build quality backlinks. That's important. Okay, and then you go to topics and questions, and here are you can see the source here is people also ask. Now, if you remember when we were looking at Google and we typed in a keyword, there's a section here which says people also ask. So these are keywords that people are actually typing into Google, and Google is telling us this is, related to this topic. These are the questions that people are asking, right? By default, it gives us 3, but we can click on the down arrow and it gives us, it expands to adds a couple more, right? So these questions should be the ones that we are seeing inside of the content editor. Okay, so here, how do I find guest blogs? Yep, is guest blogging good? Okay, so that's an exact match. It basically pulled it from Google, put it in here, and saying, we should really answer these questions in whatever article we're creating here. Okay, now there is also these questions here are questions that are sitting on the competitor on their articles. Okay, so you might choose to include some of these questions in your own content as well. Okay, so that's topics and questions, and then you can add in notes if you want here, if you wanted to, put anything in there. So that's kind of the customization feature within the content editor. Now we've done all those, we can click on Let's Go. All right, and now what it's done is it's updated this list of keywords that we should be using in our content. The next step from here, what I would do is I would go to outline. Okay, so before when I'm starting an article, I like to have a clear idea of what am I going to be writing about. Okay, so in here, right, we can delete that first sentence, not relevant. We would then go to I like to start off with topics and questions. You can actually copy the clipboard here, and then you can just paste it into there. All right, so each one of these are questions that you definitely should be asking and answering in your article, right? Okay, and then in the content editor, you can actually, one of the features is you can actually define headings using, heading H1, different sizing, right? So your first heading should be H1, it should be a H1 tag, and then anything beneath that should be either H2, H3, H4. And the nice thing about Surfer, it actually tells you here the number of headings you need in the article. So it says ideally you should use 22 to 50 headings in this particular piece of content. Okay, and then in terms of outline, I'll come back to outline. I'm going to look at some of the title. Well, these are the titles that people are using. So this is the title up here. Okay, so how to use guest blogs to grow your business. Right, so that could be the title. You can also look at the other titles, that are ranking and get some ideas from those. We can see here what is guest blogging, the ultimate guide to guest blogging, everything you need to know about guest blogging, right? What is it and why is it important for your business, right? So you can kind of see the title gives you an idea of what people are searching for, okay? Then you can look at headings. You can expand this. Okay, what are the benefits of guest blogging? Okay, that's a good one. So I could use that. Whoop. So you notice if I click on that, it actually pulls it into the content editor, and it also pulled in the first paragraph, which I'm not going to use because that's someone else's content. So make sure you're not going to plagiarize someone's content. Okay, you can use it to inspire ideas and add your own sort of information around that. That's all good. Okay, determine your guest blogging goals. That's a good one. Okay, so I might use identify your guest blogging goals. That can be another heading. So let's make that a heading 2, for example. There's sending your pitch. How do I become a guest blogger? Okay, are guest bloggers paid? Sending your guest blogging pitch. How can you become a guest blogger? Right, so these are all sort of ideas for the article. Okay, what's the purpose of guest blogging? These are all headings. Okay, so now you can see as I'm putting in the headings, right, the content score went up, right? It started off on something like 12 or whatever it was, and then it's gone up to 29. Okay, now as I start writing the content, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these words, right? Because it's telling, Surfer SEO is telling me, okay, you really should include these words, and it gives you the frequency as well. Okay, so it recommends that for the word guest blogs, this article should contain that phrase between 6 to 29 times. Okay, and it tells you how many times it's already being used. All right, so guest post guidelines. Okay. Identify how to create excellent guest blogs. So let's say that was section, and in that section, what you need to do once you've got your outline, then you start writing. Okay, so now you can go, okay, well, how to create excellent guest blogs, or it might be 5 steps to creating an excellent guest blog. Okay, I would say, okay, well, get clear on the guest post guidelines for the site you are submitting guest posts to. Okay, so you can see now that I've used guest post guidelines, that's gone, it's highlighted, and it's saying I've used it 1 out of 2 times. Okay, submitting to. Okay, so one reason why your guest post may be rejected is because you've ignored the site's guest post guidelines. Is that you've ignored? Okay, so now see what happened? It just went green because now I've used that particular keyword twice as recommended. It's gone green. So then it becomes a process of completing, writing out your article according to your outline, and then really it's just, to me, it's like a game, and you're wanting to turn as many of these phrases green as possible. Okay, and the more you do that, the more the score will go up. So we just bumped that up now to 34. Okay, and we want to, again, the goal here is to get to 70 to the green level. You don't need to get a 99 or 100. Okay, the Surfer SEO team, I'm in their group, and when you become a user, you can join the community, which is awesome. They provide ongoing training, regular webinars on how to, best use the tool, and how to produce the best content to really grow your traffic. Excuse me. And what they recommend is if you can get between the 70 and 80, you're doing really well, and there's a very high chance your article will rank, provided other things are going on. Like you've got your site speed it loads fast, right? So that's one ranking factor, and you can probably do a Google search on ranking factors, and you can see some of the key things that need to happen, right? Obviously, the article needs to be relevant to the search inquiry, which is why you need to understand what the user intent is. We talked about that. And then you want, at a minimum, you want to make sure that you're hitting that 70 to 80 score, and you're just going through and essentially just checking these off, right? Just making sure that you include each one of these things go green. But it really guides how you write your content. Now, keep in mind, even though we're writing in this sense, we're writing for Google, we also are writing at the end of the day, you're writing for your reader. And so you can't write content that is just keyword loaded with all these keywords and doesn't make any sense. So you really want to make sure that you infuse your own personality, your own stories. You also want your content to be unique. One of the challenges with writing content in this way, if you're only just looking at keywords and trying to optimize for keywords, the problem is anyone can write a how-to. Other people are also using this tool and similar tools. They can basically follow the same process. So you need to really think about, well, how do you make your content stand out and different to all the other competitor content, and how do you make sure that you're including something that's particularly unique that no one else can copy, right? So a couple of ideas here. One is you want to include your own research. If you've done interviews with experts and whatever it is, you can pull the quotes from those interviews and put it in here. Embed video. If you have data and you've done your own experiments, imagine if I was writing this article, I could put some data around my own results with guest blogging experiments that I've done over the years. I can include examples of guest posts that I've submitted to different websites, right? So that's the kind of stuff that people can't really steal. I mean, unless they would have to go and do that work themselves as well. You can do independent research. You can, imagine if you interviewed 50 experts and you surveyed, 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 businesses and then turn that into some kind of report, right? That's the kind of work that no one can really, it's not very easy to copy. And so you think about how to do that, how to incorporate some of those elements. You can do infographics, have your graphic designer or someone or a freelancer, or if you can do it yourself, you can create some nice infographics, again, not easily copied, and incorporate those elements into your articles. Okay, so that's how you really stand out and do better. So, and something I definitely recommend is going through the results that are ranking well. So let's look at this article here that's coming number one in the Neil Patel article. Excuse me, and that will give you some ideas. All right, so I'll actually spend some time going through looking. Okay, well, what's going on here? How are they doing it? Okay, so they have. So you can look at what type of headings they've included. All right. So this is quite a short article actually, and it's probably ranking because this site's been around for a while, but also because it would have a lot of backlinks coming to this page from other websites of high domain authority. We could check that in a tool like Ahrefs to actually validate that. But you can see, just looking at this, well, if I wanted to stay out and provide something that was better than what I'm seeing here, this particular page has no images. It has no video. It has no audio. It has no quotes or anything. It doesn't have any examples of guest blogging. So already, that's how I could do something better than this. Let's look at Neil Patel's article. Okay, he's got an image, which, I mean, that's a stock image that anyone can do. But then here is... okay, he's got a video. He's embedded a YouTube video, which is great. Okay, text. Google searches. He's given you some ideas on how to do Google searches to find places to guest blog. That's awesome. Very practical tip. Really cool. Giving examples of some really prolific guest bloggers, right? Talks about backlinks. Gives some examples. Get to know the blog content. Okay, so quite practical. Some really good examples of tools you can use and these sort of things. Best time to pitch, okay, guidelines. So this is much more in-depth and much more practical than the last article, which is ranking in the first position, okay. Has some images here, of Google Analytics, right? How to use Google Analytics to help with guest blogging. Awesome. Again, so you can see already, like, it gives you some ideas on, okay, this is what's working for this article. Get the page one. What can I do better? Okay, so what can I do different? Doesn't necessarily have to be better, but it certainly has to be different in some way, right? So that's so I'm not going to go through and write the whole article. Obviously, you need to dedicate some time to doing that. But the nice thing about using Surfer SEO in the content editor in this way, it actually gives you now ideas of, okay, what you should be writing about, and certainly what keywords you should be including in your content. Okay, if you're writing about guest blogging, you're going to be talking about referral traffic, talking about guest posters, you're talking about domain authority, some of these concepts, search engine optimization, okay, best practices, link building, right? So these are all important part of explaining how guest blogging works. And I will go forth and write this article, and I'll once I've created, I'll share the link with you, and you can actually go and read it. And if you're not already using guest blogging as a strategy to grow your traffic and get more people, your target audience to your website and to your business, then definitely highly recommend you do it. But I just wanted to use this as an example for, how you can use Surfer SEO. Now, let me show you a couple of other cool features with Surfer SEO, right? So, particularly with the content editor. Now, you can share this, right? So, if you put together your guideline, you can actually share. You can copy this link here, right? So if I put a highlight here, it says, okay, this link can be accessed by your writer or a friend without logging into Surfer. So if you wanted to give this article to someone else to write, so you have a writer on your team, a freelancer you're hiring, whatever it may be, and you're not the one who's actually writing, you can actually just hand this over to your writer. They don't need to have a login. They don't need to have their own Surfer account, but they can then click on the link and come in here and just start writing. Okay, and then they can follow the guidelines. Okay, and so you would say to them, hey, write this article. Here's the outline. Feel free to update it if you want. And here's all the keywords you need to include. Make sure these all go green. Okay, and our goal is to get to a content score of 70 plus. Okay, so that's really cool. Another feature here is you can actually create. There's a Chrome extension for Surfer SEO. Once you install that and you're using Google Chrome, you can then create a Google Doc version of this. All right. So you can see it's popping up it's taking me into my Google Drive account or Google Docs. It's loading the Surfer content editor panel in here. Just a bit slow because we're streaming this live. Okay, here it is. All right. And you'll notice none of the content's here. So this is one thing you need to do is actually come back over here, highlight all that text, come back over to this side of Google Drive, Google Docs, paste it in here. All right. And then sometimes what I find is I'll just need to refresh that. So if I refresh this, now I'm able to write the article inside of Google Docs and have the Surfer content editor integrated within that. So I can actually, instead of writing inside of Surfer SEO, I can actually write inside of Google Docs. And this is really good for collaboration. So you can actually share this document with your team or whoever it may be, your editor, your writer, all right, your VA, whatever it may be, and they can come in here and they can edit this document as well. Now, unless they have the Surfer SEO plugin and a login, they won't be able to see this panel, but you can certainly see it, and you can, if you prefer, you can write your content here and then just share this Google Doc with whoever you need to share with. This is what I do with clients. So, I would write the article, I would then get the score optimized, and then I would share this Google Doc. Instead of sharing the Surfer SEO page with them, I would share this Google Doc page with them. Okay, so this is really good if you're writing for agencies or you want to write content for clients and whatnot. or just sharing with your team. Okay. The other benefit of doing it this way is I have the Grammarly Pro or Grammarly Premium. I've got an account with Grammarly Premium, and that's integrated. I've got the plugin for Chrome, so now after I finish writing, I could then use the Grammarly Premium to fix the grammar in this content. Okay, so that's another benefit of putting it into Google Drive or Google Docs. All right, so this is a really neat feature, and then I wanted to show you that. And that's really it. So just quick recap. All right, so you can use the content editor. You search for your keyword. You specify the country that you're trying to, where your audience is. You can then create an outline. It gives you all these recommendations. There's also this brief tab here, which I don't find is particularly useful. I mean, the only thing that's really useful is it gives you the list of the competitors that are ranking on page 1. So you can click through each one of those and take a look at those. I don't really use the brief so much, but definitely the guidelines and the outline and the content score, these are all very helpful. Okay, so that's how we use Surfer SEO content editor to produce content that can rank on page 1, and then really it helps you optimize your content for Google and for readers. All right, and so again, if you want to give Surfer SEO a try, just head over to simplecreativemarketing.com/Surfer SEO. Sign up. It is a paid. It's not a free trial. You need to pay for that, and then if you can use it. I think I've got 7 days here, but they actually give you up to 30 days, and if you're not happy with it, you can ask for a refund, and they'll fully refund that to you. Definitely worth the investment. It's been a massive time saver. It's helped me get articles ranked on page 1 for myself and also for clients. And if that's something that you're interested in doing, and you should be if you want to grow your business and get more prospective clients and buyers to your site, then definitely take a look at this tool and writing content in this way. Okay, if you have any questions about this at all, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. If there's anything else you want to learn about content marketing, getting traffic, writing articles, copywriting, let me know. I'm always open to your questions and any ideas for future videos and training videos like this. Okay, thanks for joining in today, and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, Authentic Influence, and I will see you all real soon.